Hello everyone. You can see I have a large tub with a Tupperware lid and a 25-pound weight on top. And in there is all those blocks that I had with just the wax paper on top, and they're soaking underneath water. And the reason I'm doing that is because I got a comment from Southpaw Davy Farms that any blocks of king oysters they ever bought always instructed them to submerge them in water and do a pre-soak, which, you know, I never really thought of. So yeah, I'm trying that, and I think that it actually might be one of the factors with these king oysters why I'm getting some low production. These first blocks I had down here, I went ahead and stripped the top of the casing off because it was just too many pins that were going to go anywhere. And I recased it with a thinner layer of coconut coir. So hopefully that'll work out, we'll see. And I have these two blocks up here that I stripped off the top and soaked in water overnight. And they've pretty much soaked up any excess that was in the bottom. You can see when you do that, it kind of flexes the bag out a little bit away from the block. But yeah, I think maybe the problem is how much moisture is inside the block, because I originally used to, you know, when I did this grain, I would boil the grain ahead of time and really get it hydrated, and then you steam the outside off. But, you know, that takes a lot of time and work. You know, I'm trying to simplify things. And so if I could just make the grain block, you know, by doing what I do now and soaking it overnight and then draining it, and then adding only a cup of coffee solution water back to it. If I can just go ahead and soak these ahead of time, then hopefully maybe they'll gain a lot more water content inside. And it made me think back to, you know, when I've had really good flushes of these king oysters off sawdust blocks, especially the one time where, if you remember an episode of Mushroom Adventures where I had half vermiculite and half peat, but a thick layer of it. But the peat I was using was some cheaper peat that didn't have a lot of, well, had a lot of woody material and stuff that shouldn't be in peat. But because of that extra nutrition, it just fully colonized the entire casing before it even pinned. I think because of that, it had all that extra moisture, plus the moisture of the sawdust, and I think back then too I was adding more water to the sawdust. So that being said, with these blocks where I have this thick layer of coconut coir, which you see is growing well into it, haven't seen any pinning on the sides yet, and hopefully it'll fully colonize almost all of it. Yeah. If it fully colonizes all that coconut coir, that's probably a good thing. And that'll give it a good reserve of moisture. But what I'm going to do today is bring down some new blocks. I'm going to take these ones out. I'm going to go ahead and keep the wax paper on these projects without any other casing, just to see how they turn out. Because I do have these ones up here. Let's see, let's spin this around. Yeah, these ones up here where I made the thin layer of vermiculite and then the wax paper on top of it as soon as it pinned, they're actually doing really well. There's very little side pinning, and let's see if I can get them down here. You can see all the pins developing underneath the wax paper, and also you can see some condensation on the underside of the wax paper. And what I've been doing is, if I don't see any condensation there, I go ahead and I mist the top of the wax paper. Not real heavy, but enough to fully get everything wet. And yeah, we'll see how well this does. I might still have the problem where a lot of the pins don't go anywhere, even with the extra moisture being trapped in, just because there's not enough moisture in this grain block. So yeah, I'm going to take these out, recase some new ones, and then probably about a week I'm saying these coconut core ones are going to be fully colonized. It's not going to take long, but yeah, I'll keep you up to date. You know, actually an easier way to do this is just roll the tops back so the bag is sturdy, and then pour in water till it's about 2 inches over the top. You can see the air bubbles bubbling out as the water goes in between all the colonized grain. Kind of neat.